Fujian, located on the southeast coastal area of China, has the longest and most tortuous coastline in the country. 3,752 kilometers in length and 1 to 7.01 in tortuosity rate. It is endowed with a wealth of natural bays, mudflats, and includes 1,321 islands. Rivers flow into the sea in almost every single bay along the coast of Fujian. These bays are rich in nutrients, and the water temperature is steady and moderate, making them perfect places for mariculture, cultivating marine organisms for food. About 5,000 years ago, in the Neolithic Age, the people who lived in this area had already begun farming the seas. Xiapu County is in the northeast of Fujian province and has a coastline of 404 kilometers, the longest in the province as a whole, and enjoys a subtropical marine climate due to its location. It has a broad sea area with deep water, a long coastline, and rich marine fishery resources, which has created favorable conditions for the booming local mariculture industry. The mudflats here have witnessed tens of millions of years of history and experienced countless tides rising and falling, forming a unique ecological landscape. The mudflats always present different features and unique local characteristics in the different seasons. Xiapu's name perhaps explains its uniqueness. Xia means the sky, with Pu meaning the sea. It suggests a dialogue between the two which plays out along its beautiful beaches. At dusk, the fishermen of Xiapu County begin to spread the fishing nets on the mudflats. The shimmering blues are captivating, almost like a Chinese painting. This is not only a natural fishing ground and home to many fishermen, but also a paradise for photographers. Pingtan Island is located off the southeast coast of China. The erosion of the land by the action of the sea has formed various kinds of rock formations. Pingtan Island is known as the Museum of Marine Erosion Landforms because of the rich variety of formations here. This fairy tale scene of the East China Sea is typical of marine erosion landforms in the area. This naturally formed shaft has a diameter of nearly 50 meters and a depth of 40 meters. Alongside the shaft there is a huge canyon which looks like a mountain split in two. Pingtan Island is a world of stones. On the island there are many strange rock formations, among which the most famous are the Banyan stone sail and the god of Haitan. They are also known as the double wonders of Pingtan Island. The Banyan stone sail is the world's largest granite spherical weathered marine erosion column. The reef looks like a big ship with the two massive boulders as its double sails. There are many marine erosion landforms on the island, such as the Nanjai Stone Forest Group with its variety of different shapes, unpredictable marine erosion caves, and scattered marine erosion platforms and terraces. They are unique landscapes shaped by the magical power of nature. Every spring, around mid-March, hundreds of thousands of birds arrive at the Maqu Wetland of northeast China's Jilin province. It turns this remote area into a fascinating paradise for these migrant birds. The Maqu Wetland is located on the border of China, Russia, and North Korea. The diverse environment and humid climate make it an important stopover for migrating birds. Seagulls are common here because it is very close to the Sea of Japan. These birds begin their journey back north after winter, and this is the last stop before leaving China. Here, they rest and feed. Many large predatory birds, such as golden eagles, white-tailed sea eagles, and Steller's sea eagles, are frequent visitors. They are rare and endangered species in the world and are listed as protected animals at a national level in China. Among these species, the Steller's sea eagles are especially rare, with only a few thousand remaining in the world. Now, more and more rare birds, such as Chinese mergansers and red-crowned cranes, are being found in the Maqu Wetland, attracting hundreds of photographers. So as not to disturb the birds, the photographers wait quietly in the specified location. They wait patiently among the gathering of birds for the right moment to capture an amazing moment in nature.
Taihu Lake is located in the south of the Yangtze River Delta. Among the numerous lakes on the north of the Yangtze River, Taihu Lake is the largest. Here, there is a lake island famous for its cherry blossoms. Yuantuojiu is a peninsula extending into Taihu Lake. It is named after a giant stone that emerges from the lake and looks for all the world like a turtle with its head held high. There are more than 30,000 cherry trees and more than 100 varieties planted in Yuantuojiu. From mid-March to mid-April every year, it is the best time to enjoy the beautiful cherry blossoms. Pink clouds of cherry blossoms cover the trees, complemented by the rippling water and flurries of falling cherry flowers. The history of cherry planting in Yuantuojiu can be traced back to the 1930s. The cherry blossoms on either side of the Qianchun Bridge were planted at that time. In March 1988, more than 400 Japanese friends came to Yuantuojiu and planted 1,500 cherry trees with the citizens of Wuxi. Since then, more than 10,000 Japanese friends have returned to plant yet more cherry trees. Yuantaojiu has therefore become a cherry viewing resort in China, attracting countless tourists to enjoy the beautiful cherry blossoms here every year. In China's northwestern Xinjiang, there are many different landscapes and remarkable views. Deep in its northern dense forest, there is an amazingly beautiful lake. The colour of the lake changes with the seasons, light and temperature difference between morning and evening. The Kanas Lake, the second largest deep-water lake in China, has a water depth of 190 meters. Perhaps it's the fear of what lies below the surface that has stirred up legends of a lake monster. Since the late 1980s, there have been numerous sightings of the creature in the lake. It is said that horses drinking by the lake were once dragged into the water by the monster. Many tourists come all the way to the Kanas Lake, hoping to catch a glimpse of the mysterious marine creature. Most scientists believe the so-called water monster is a Huchoblica living deep below the surface. Some of these freshwater salmon can grow up to nearly 2 meters long. They can be ferocious and secretive, but occasionally emerge from the water and make waves. The warm and humid Atlantic air currents travel over 6,900 kilometers of land into the Altai Mountains and bring more than 600 millimeters of precipitation every year, nurturing the largest Siberian taiga forest in China. Taiga forests have a simple structure and are mostly composed of tall and straight fir and pine trees. They grow and multiply by the Kanas Lake, carrying their life on from generation to generation. In the south of China's Gansu province, the Maqu Wetland has more than 300 tributaries, large and small, distributed like capillaries across the surface of the earth. As the Yellow River, China's second longest river, reaches Maqu, the water it carries accounts for just 20% of the total water volume of the Yellow River. That total swells to 65% as it leaves Maqu. The abundant water nourishes the vast grassland. This grassland is located in the eastern end of the Qinghai Tibet Plateau in China. with a total area of 3,750 square kilometres. It is about the size of 3 cities the size of Los Angeles. But this is no city of angels, but a paradise for cattle and sheep. The Ula sheep breed is unique to Maqu. It gets its name from Mount Ula nearby. Their slightly spiral, upturned V-shaped horns make them handsome beasts. The secret of the resilience of the Ula sheep lies in the green grassland. More than 50% of the grassland here is put over to growing Chinese herbal medicines. By grazing on these herbs, the sheep develop a stronger resistance to diseases. Beyond grazing and drinking, running becomes their daily essential fitness sport. But the Ula sheep are not alone. The yaks of Maqu also love running across the wetland grassland. China is the home of yaks. More than 90% of yaks in the world live on the Qinghai Tibet Plateau and in the surrounding 6 provinces. Yaks account for more than half of the livestock raised by Maqu herdsmen. The rich water and grass not only nurtures Ula sheep and yaks, but also serves as the cornerstone of the existence of the Maqu people. The Yellow River, which nourishes more than 750,000 square kilometres of land, is called the Mother River by the Chinese people. The Maqu Wetland contributes nearly half of the water to the Yellow River. What it truly nurtures goes far beyond what we can see here. In eastern China, there is a sea of flowers blooming in the water. Every spring, this gorgeous sea of flowers will attract countless tourists to appreciate the beautiful scenery. What people are seeing is in fact a great example of Chinese intelligence. China's ancient philosophy, the harmonious interaction with nature, blooms and bears fruit here. "5,000 years ago, this was a beach. 3,000 years ago, the coastline moved eastward, and land appeared in the Xinhua area. 1,000 years ago, to prevent floods, the hard-working and intelligent people in Xinhua excavated a network of deep ditches or streams in the swamps, and piled up the soil on one side, forming fields suitable for cultivation. These fields, either square or round, wide or narrow, high or low, long or short, have different shapes and sizes. Big ones can be a kilometre wide, while the smaller ones just a few meters. They all have one thing in common, and that is they are surrounded by water. The fields are not connected to each other and look like islets on the sea. Taking into account the local natural conditions, hard-working and intelligent local ancestors transformed low-lying wetlands unsuitable for agriculture into farmland and fields, providing grains and vegetables for the local people. But also, these fields have maintained the original water currents, as well as rivers and canals and the surrounding natural ecological environment. It has formed a new landscape representing the unity of man and nature. Today, the unique landform of the Xinhua Fields has become a globally important agricultural cultural heritage. Every spring, when oilseed rape flowers are in full bloom, as people meander between these fields in small boats, they say the boats walk in the water and the people swim in the flowers. Fuzhou, the capital of Fujian province in southeast China, has a well-known nickname, the City of the Banyan Tree. The artificial planting of banyan trees has been underway in Fuzhou since the end of the Tang dynasty, meaning banyan trees have been planted in Fuzhou for thousands of years. Especially in the Northern Song dynasty, Zhang Boyu, the governor of the state, advocated that the whole city should be green and no parasols should be needed in the summer. And so Fuzhou gained the reputation of the City of the Banyan Tree. Banyan trees are evergreen with luxuriant branches and leaves. There are nearly 1,000 ancient banyan trees in Fuzhou, which have come to symbolize the spirit of the city. The 1,000-year-old banyan tree in Fuzhou National Forest Park is known as the largest banyan tree in Fuzhou, with a height of 20 meters and the ground projection area of the canopy more than 1,330 square meters. This tree is truly spectacular. When spring comes, about half of its crown sprouts first, and when the old leaves gradually fall off, the other half of the crown begins to sprout, forming a pleasant scene with distinct layers and different colours. According to experts, this banyan tree is likely to be 2 trees growing in one, and because Ficus coquina has no clinging roots that reach the ground, in order to support the heavy horizontal trunk and avoid the trunk breaking, the craftsmen of the forest park have built concrete columns in the shape of clinging roots to support the trunk of the banyan tree, which is extending outwards year by year. The king of banyan trees grows by the lake. In the scorching sun, the lake reflects the luxuriant branches and leaves of this ancient banyan tree, providing great shade for local people.
Populus Euphratica is the only tree species to be found in the desert of North China. in Euphratica in the west of Inner Mongolia, there's a Populus Euphratica. As the oldest tree in this Populus Euphratica forest, it's been guarding this place for more than 800 years. The locals call it the sacred tree. Dinosaurs died out about 65 million years ago. Then a new species appeared along the ancient Mediterranean Sea. That's the Populus Euphratica. Seasonally flooded riverbeds in the Gobi Desert are perfect for the Populus Euphratica. Where there is water, the Populus Euphratica grows. Populus Euphratica loves water, but it is also highly resistant to drought. As long as the groundwater is at least 4 meters below, Populus Euphratica can live comfortably. If the groundwater level drops below 9 meters, it will die. Because the course of the desert rivers change frequently, Populus Euphratica has left its mark across the desert. It acts as a good windbreak, prevents sand erosion, and is salt-resistant. An adult Populus Euphratica can discharge tens of kilograms of salt and alkali every year. When the wind is blocked, the sand is fixed and the soil is improved. So the ecological environment of Euphratica is protected. To the south of the Populus Euphratica forest in Euphratica lies Badain Jaran, the third largest desert in China. Without this 260 square kilometer Populus Euphratica forest, the Badain Jaran Desert, already 49,200 square kilometers in size, would spread northward, squeezing the living space of humans. These Populus Euphratica trees form a golden natural barrier, guarding the ecology of Euphratica year after year for another 800 years. The Qilian Mountains across China's Gansu and Qinghai provinces stretch for about 800 kilometers from east to west. It's a huge mountain range composed of many parallel mountains. About 1/3 of the peaks of the Qilian Mountains are more than 4,000 meters above the sea. There are more than 3,000 glaciers, storing tens of billions of cubic meters of water in solid form. If all the glaciers were to melt, the water generated would be enough for a city of 20 million people to use for about 20 years. However, this mountain system in northwest China is an island surrounded by drought. The Qilian Mountains are bounded by deserts on 3 sides. To the east is the Loess Plateau with little rainfall. The glaciers in the mountains determine the fate of this area. Each time the weather gets warmer, The melted ice and snow of the Qilian Mountains brings life to the deserts of northwest China. In the north of the Qilian Mountains, along the mountain range from east to west, meltwater from the ice and snow nourishes a narrow area of about 1,200 kilometers. This region, known as the Hershey Corridor, is an important part of the ancient Silk Road. For thousands of years, Asian and European civilizations have converged and collided here. The Qilian Mountains still store 80% of the water in this land, continuously nourishing about 5 million people and 700,000 hectares of cultivated land.